Alright everybody, here are my top 10 reasons to love Darksiders 1, starting with number 10, no forced MCU style humor. With Darksiders 1, we have genuine story and genuine moments, which is what I love about it the most. The tension is never broken for a cheap laugh, and the game takes itself and its story very seriously. But that doesn't mean that the game doesn't have humor. War has good chemistry with everyone he meets, and occasionally trades some witty barbs and one-liners. War and Uthane's confrontation, for instance, is filled with cheeky fun moments, such as their pigeon quote-unquote plucking contest, but it doesn't break the tension of their scenes at all, and the tension continues to ramp up despite the introduction of such levity. It's one of the most refreshing aspects of going back to play Darksiders 1 in 2025 and beyond. And number 9 is that good old school feel. We're talking about design that's simple but incredibly effective. This section is mostly about how pro-consumer Darksiders 1 is. This is a game with no DLC in an era where DLC was becoming increasingly popular. The devs wanted a complete game for consumers by the time of release. Imagine that. This was before AAA games focused so much of their time and resources on chasing trend. Instead of just making great original games thought up in the minds of creative devs. Darksiders 1 was released in 2010, well before it was the norm to release unfinished games to the public at full price, while also expecting them to purchase DLC. Darksiders 1 really is a complete adventure with a full story that wraps itself up completely and leaves room for a sequel. War's story is complete in Darksiders 1. What I love about it is that DS1 is just a straightforward game that injects heavy metal into the Legend of Zelda format. All the powerful items and unlockables were put into the game, the base game. Imagine that. It can be accessed by playing the game for a reasonable stretch of time and not purchasing anything from a shop. This makes Darksiders an instant classic. Number 8 is another quickie. We're going to talk about collectibles for a bit. Collectibles in Darksiders, for me, I don't know about a lot of you guys. I think a lot of you guys like the collectibles in Darksiders, but I find them to be actually fun and intuitive to collect. So I always have a good time 100%ing Darksiders. The game encourages the player to find everything before the final boss fight, and even provides a story objective to make that easier and more natural for the player. These collectibles are great because they grant players with more power. Tied to the collectibles are trophies and achievements, which I always aim for when 100%ing the game. Only 2, maybe 3 out of the 43 trophies are consistently regretful, which is a great percentage for most games. Anytime I play Darksiders, I'm always aiming to just do everything that I possibly can in the game. The last couple times I played, I didn't go for all the achievements, but I always try to max out War in whatever ways I can. Number 7 is the fact that Darksiders started with a badass concept and had a near flawless level of execution. This is a game where you get to play as one of the Four Horsemen of the biblical apocalypse. You get to play as War in all of his destructive glory, and even at the height of his powers before being brought low. The icing on the cake is getting to play all this on the destroyed planet Earth post-apocalypse, and riding War's badass flaming steed, Ruin, while fighting the legion of demons that have carved out sections of the planet for themselves. It's amazing just how well this game nailed its concept. Infusing biblical lore with heavy metal album cover imagery for a journey of redemption was just the final chef's kiss. Darksiders 1 is a certified masterpiece. Number 6 is a collection I'm devoting to character interactions, voice acting, and character animations. This one is self-explanatory, so I'm just going to talk long enough for you all to see how well acted these scenes are. The great storyboarding of comics meets some truly cinematic camera work and character animation to make these scenes come to life. Some standouts for me are Vulgrim and Samael. The Watcher and Uthane are also extremely well animated. I'm a 90s kid through and through, and this feels like watching so many of the higher tier shows from that era, be it cartoons, TV, movies, whatever from that era. I made sure to bring you guys one of my favorite scenes from the game. Check it out.
100 years. Since the day Abaddon was taken from us, I have prayed for this moment. For your crimes, I would see you tried in the White City. But until this world is free of the Destroyer, its gates are closed to us, and justice will not wait. I sentence you here and now!
Justice can wait till we finish our little scrap, missy. There ain't no sport in jumping into a tussle that don't concern you. Go on, fly away, pigeons, if I'll pluck ya.
Blasphemer! It is you who take sides in a battle that doesn't concern you!
Please, allow me. That's what you get for touching what ain't yours. I'd duck if I were you.
So number 5 is the combat. So I don't want to be here talking about this all day, because I could, honestly could. But combat in Darksiders is a buttery smooth experience, and it's not at all tryhard. It's brutal and has a sense of weight to it, but it's thankfully not a Souls-like like its sister game Darksiders 3. You can be stylish if you want, there is space for that. Or you can just smash Demon in the face with War's big ass sword, or a car, or even a parking meter. There's a lot of options and it all feels satisfying. From War's 3 main melee weapons to the countless fun sidearms and traversal tools that double as weapons, to War's 4 upgradable wrath spells. Just about everything is upgradable, and War's customizations through enhancements make it so that each player can approach each battle a little differently. I love how War's moveset feels. War is what I can only describe as an elegant bruiser. Each of his moves is precise, but at the end of the day, he is smashing you right in your big, dumb demon face. Again, I could go on and on, as I haven't even mentioned War's chaos form, or any of the epic, memorable, or well-designed boss fights in the game. If you haven't played yet, please go ahead and treat yourself. The 4th reason to love Darksiders number 1 is the presentation and art style. Joe Madureira's art style carries the game and infuses it with badassery. It's the best word I can think of. It's just like a heavy metal cover come to life. And it's surprisingly cartoony, but not in a bad way, but in a well animated sort of way. Kinda like Batman the Animated Series or Gargoyles. Everything is properly exaggerated on these larger than life characters. I mean, come on, we're dealing with a 15-foot demon with a 30-foot wingspan. And next to that, we have a 20-foot tall, 4,000-pound Scotsman. The game has some fantastic in-game cutscenes that fully captures the energy of Joe Mad's designs. While the CGI cutscenes don't quite match the in-game art style, they properly hype up the player and set the stage for the adventure ahead. One of the unsung heroes of these classic games is the menu/UI design, which is something that's being lost nowadays in today's game industry, which seems to be leaning more and more into homogenization. The theme menus and UI in Darksiders 1, though not as flashy or overly eye-catching, are still refreshing. Admittedly, the menus, of which there are many, are still a little clunky to navigate. I lost myself in the menus many times, but regardless, it's nice to have game menus that fit the theme of the game and don't look like default menu number 3. The menus are jagged and sometimes look like they are carved right on a headstone. There are various arcane symbols scrolling by some menus and glowing on others. And there are even some non-standard menu shapes like, oh my god, circles instead of squares in some menus. Gasp! Just another reason why Darksiders 1 is goated. Alright, number 3, probably my favorite section here, to be honest, is that Darksiders 1 is the perfect power fantasy. Darksiders has 3 difficulties: easy, normal, and apocalyptic. All 3 are accessible right from the start. If you've been playing action-adventure games such as Zelda, Soul Reaver, God of War, Onimusha, or even Devil May Cry for most of your gaming life, you owe it to yourself to play this game on apocalyptic difficulty. The lesser difficulties are great if you want a stressless, easygoing playthrough. Of course, there's nothing wrong with that. But for me, Darksiders shines with its apocalyptic difficulty. I haven't played anything else since when I first tried the game in 2010. Darksiders has this really cool rubber band effect where you start the game with a fully powered War who has about 8 health bars at this point, as well as access to his chaos form. Throughout the story, this first part, you get quickly depowered, taken down to only 2 health bars and forced to scratch, claw, and scrounge around the world for any scrap of power that you can find. You end up making deals with renegade demons just to get the next step of War's adventure, and during all this, in-game, enemies hit like a tank on apocalyptic, especially the big ones. But even the small ones can tear War apart with only a few precise hits. It never feels unfair or mean to the player like it sometimes does in a FromSoft Souls game. The only thing that tends to frustrate is the gargantuan hitboxes of many of the larger enemies. But your early struggles are soon eased if you commit to exploring the world and completing War's goals. When you go off the beaten path and find shards of Lifestone and Wrath pieces, you begin to increase War's vitality and magic prowess. Your curiosity is rewarded. And when you defeat enemies and open soul chests, War gains more souls to be used to buy weapons, techniques, items, and power-ups to make surviving the apocalypse just a little bit easier. And finally, making story progress and defeating bosses grants War with more HP, new weapons, and powers, which means just by playing the game, the player and War are always getting more powerful in proportion to his quest. And if that wasn't enough, because enemies still do hit incredibly hard, eagle-eyed players can search for a legendary armor set to trivialize the threat of just about every enemy in the game. So by the end of the game, when you consider all of this and the enhancements that War can find and equip to his weapons, War is way stronger at the end of the game than he was even at the start when he was fully powered. So he goes from hero to zero to unstoppable god by the end of his adventure. And it all feels so damn satisfying and earned. Such a good fit. The number 2 reason out of 10 for loving Darksiders 1 is that the storytelling is on point in just about every way. The intro sets everything up to perfection, from the CGI cutscene where we see the incursion of demons, destruction of humanity, and War's arrival on Earth, to the opening section of War's betrayal. Nothing is ever wasted when it comes to the storytelling. In-game cutscenes, watchers' gameplay dialogue, and the environmental storytelling all hold weight. Darksiders has superb world building and environmental storytelling. Seeing the ruins of Earth and remnants of undead humanity is a constant reminder of the weight of the crimes that War was accused and punished for. We see the different ways that the demons have dug their hooks into different pockets of the Earth and made it their domain. And we get to see Ulthane's defenses against encroaching demons as well as his isolation when we see him in Anvil's Fort. And I just love how everything is tied together over the ruins of Earth. You see collapsed skyscrapers and giant industrial machines as you traverse to these practical locations that have become fantastical thanks to demons and demon magic. And the way the story is presented, as mentioned before, is top notch. The character animations, staging, and voice acting all brings it to life, and the scenes are incredibly fun and energetic while never losing tension. They are a masterclass in video game cutscene storytelling. The best part about Darksiders' story is its simplicity, which makes it easy to follow, even though its main deal is with the wonky mechanics of broken apocalypse seals and cosmic politics. Despite that, we all look forward to seeing War's single-minded pursuit for vengeance and redemption. And for all of us, that's really easy to follow. Alright, and here we are. Dun 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 dun. The number 1 reason for loving Darksiders number 1 is that with this game, gameplay is king. So of course, the best part of Darksiders is its gameplay, hands down. It is simply a blast to play, and all the aesthetics and story elements are used to make playing War even more enjoyable. If the gameplay was only as half as good, then we wouldn't really be talking about this game today. It will not stand the test of time at all. What makes Darksiders gameplay so unique is that is that it's a derivative pastiche of great games that came before it, but done extremely well so as to rival the original games is obviously inspired by. And it's inspired by a lot of great games. In the gameplay, you can feel the touch of The Legend of Zelda and Soul Reaver in the dungeon design and traversal mechanics. God of War and Devil May Cry in the combat system, and even the likes of Dark Sector, Portal, Panzer Dragoon, and even some Gears of War when it comes to War's side weapons and extra game mechanics. What's great about its use of gameplay systems from those games is Darksiders forges its own identity with its influences front and center. If these systems were bastardized or the focus of the game, I would agree with the critics who say that it's a shameless ripoff of those games. But Darksiders remains a perfect genre blend thanks to its influences. It's got a more grounded combat system than Devil May Cry and God of War, thanks to its Legend of Zelda influence. And it's got a faster, more parkour heavy and dynamic traversal system than Legend of Zelda, thanks to the influence of games like Prince of Persia. Plus the shooting is better than Devil May Cry, thanks to the influence of a Gears of War style over-the-shoulder targeting system. They did not use these influences to make the best possible Zelda, Legacy of Kain, or God of War game, but instead used it to make the best Horseman game, the one that we call Darksiders. The pacing is great, and there's a steady supply of new traversal tools. I love that the traversal tools can also be used in combat, and there's always something to do. You can even grind in the game if you want, like an RPG. You can take as much or as little time as you want, finding all the extra little things, all the little extra little power-ups, because the entire game world is always open for exploration, discounting one unique area. So those are my top 10 reasons for loving Darksiders 1. If you guys ever want me to revisit the topic in greater detail, then let me know. I have a ton of opinions about this game because I love it to death, but I didn't want this video to go near or over an hour. Gotta keep it light for the YouTube algorithm. I'm gonna do another one for Darksiders 2, so look forward to that. In the meantime, I want you guys to take care of yourselves and your loved ones. Go ahead and like, subscribe, share through the Patreon, all that. But till next time, everybody, peace.